It was a wonderful day in the town of Harmony. Harmony was a picture-perfect suburb, the sun majestically on display, not a cloud in sight. And to top it all off, school would let out in just 10 minutes. For young Benjamin, nothing could go wrong this day. Right at 3 o'clock, the children in Miss Tisdale's fourth grade class were about to receive their report cards. Everyone was a little anxious, but Benjamin wasn't worried. He felt confident that he'd skated through this quarter. Ben was in such a good mood amidst all his daydreaming that the teacher had to call his name 3 times to get his attention. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm coming, Miss Tisdale," said Benjamin, as he shuffled his books under his arm. "Here you go. Have a good weekend, Benjamin," replied Miss Tisdale, eyes squinting behind her glasses. Benjamin grabbed his report card and darted out the door. He didn't even bother to peek at his grades until his friend Ethan got off at his stop in a quaint suburban subdivision not far from the school. Ben had still had about 7 minutes until he got home, so he decided to glance at his report card. Suddenly, Benjamin was hit with a case of the wuzzamawutchas. The wuzzamawutchas was Benjamin's term for the most extreme case of anxiety, surprise, and disappointment all wrapped up into one inconsolable knot in his tummy. Benjamin's forehead began to develop little beads of sweat, and his hands began to quiver. He had 2 C's and a D on his report card. The C's were already not what he expected, but a D? A D stands for disappointed, didn't pay attention, or worse, doomed. "Wait until my mom sees this. She's gonna trip big time," exclaimed Benjamin. As Benjamin meandered in the front door of his home, he could hear nothing aside from the television in his parents' room. Ben's father normally listened to the court shows while getting ready for work. He left every day at 3:30 p.m. Ben tried to go straight to his room and shut the door, but right as he placed his fingers on the doorknob, his dad came bursting out of his room with a toothbrush hanging out of the side of his mouth, causing his speech to sound muffled. "Hey, Vern, how was school?" "What's that you got there?" he asked. Benjamin couldn't stand when his dad spoke with his toothbrush in his mouth, because he would end up wearing half his dad's toothpaste on his face by the time the conversation ended. Ugh. "Oh, this is my report card," muttered Ben. "Well, hand it here," said Benjamin's dad. He took the report and walked slowly into the kitchen with an occasional or mm-hmm. That 1 minute felt like 10 as Benjamin waited for the verdict. Would he have to suffer a punishment so great that he'd pass out? Or was he going to just give me a half-hearted pep talk about doing better next time? When his dad finally finished going over Ben's grades, he said, "Well, your mama ain't gonna be too happy about those C's and that D. I'll let her deal with you when she gets back. Looks to me like you better start hitting those books a little harder," explained Ben's father. Just great, thought Ben. He knew that it was all going to come down to Mom, and that's what he was afraid of. So Ben went into his room and plopped on his bed. What am I gonna do now? What did I miss? I thought for sure that I had a good quarter. Benjamin felt horrible. To take his mind off the impending punishment from his mother, he played a nice long round of video games on his Playtendo 180. After all, this could be his last time playing video games for a very long time. "Benji, I'm home," called Benjamin's mom wearily. Immediately, Ben dropped the controller and fumbled to try to save his game and turn off the TV and game system as quickly as possible. "Hey, Ma," called Ben, voice quivering. As his mother entered his room, she said, "Hey, everything all right? Wait a minute. Today's report card day. Hand it over." Reluctantly, Benjamin retrieved the report card and tried to smile the best he could, but could only muster a slight smirk. His mother studied the report card, and Benjamin watched her already tired face go from exhaustion to frustration. "Did you show your father?" said his mom. "Yes," murmured Benjamin. "And what did he say?" asked his mother. "Well, he wasn't happy, but he said you would deal with me later," explained Ben. Benjamin, you know I expect you to follow your schedule and do your work as soon as you come home. Now I have to take time off to go talk to your teacher to find out what we can do about these grades. Benjamin, I am not going to tolerate you slipping up in school. Your education is priority number one. You are grounded until we get to the root of the issue with your grades. Go make yourself a sandwich and wash up and then get straight to bed. No TV, no games, no nothing, demanded Ben's mom. All Benjamin could do was hang his head and think of how it felt to let his mother down. Where did I go wrong? I really thought I was doing okay, thought Ben. So Benjamin did as his mother said, and as he lay in bed, he became anxious about what the coming days would bring. The next day, Benjamin had made up his mind to make things right and take responsibility for his grades. His dad was asleep when he left the house in the morning, and his mom had already left for work. Benjamin grabbed some Pop-Tarts and headed out the door. When Ben got to school, he was determined to be focused and listen to everything the teacher said and take notes like there was no tomorrow. All in all, Ben had a fantastic day. The teacher even called on him more frequently and complimented him on being more focused. Later that day, Benjamin's parents showed up for the parent conference with Ben's teacher. Though Ben had a great day, he was nervous because of his parents' reaction to his report card. When they showed up, Ben's mom greeted Miss Tisdale with a stale, "Hi, how are you?" Then she got right down to it. "Look, Miss Tisdale, what is it that Benjamin is not doing?" said Ben's mother with a bit of tension in her voice. "Well, I will be honest, Mrs. Williams. I'm not too disappointed with Benjamin's behavior or his efforts in class. There was one chapter test that really tripped him up, and though he does turn in his homework, there are at least a couple things that he misses. Aside from the occasional laughing and whispering with friends, his behavior is okay. Quite honestly, some students just need a little extra push," explained Miss Tisdale. Benjamin fidgeted through the meeting, thinking about how he could make things better. Benjamin's parents decided to sit down and discuss what they felt about Benjamin and his grades. "We have to take some responsibility for his decreasing grades," explained Benjamin's mother. "Well, I know that I haven't really been checking in on him much. I just see him for a few minutes before I go to work. I think I may need to sacrifice to spend more time with him," remarked Benjamin's dad. "I agree. Making more time should be a priority for both of us," beamed Ben's mom. They concluded their discussion and resolved to have a talk with Benjamin in the morning. When he woke up the next morning, Benjamin's parents were both seated at the table. "Benjamin, have a seat, buddy," said his dad. "Sweetie, we owe you an apology. We have decided that we are going to do more to help you get the most of your education. It will take some sacrifice, but it should work. There will be a set schedule for checking homework, and we'll be checking in with Miss Tisdale by phone or email so we know exactly where you are in class. You have so much potential, and as your parents, we support you no matter what. And I'll take less overtime so I can be around more. I promise to be more engaged in what's going on with you, instead of just sending you to your mom," said Ben's dad. Benjamin's heart was overwhelmed. "Guys, I promise to make sure I keep up with all my work in my binder and bring all my graded work home so you'll know how I'm doing, even if it doesn't look too good," Benjamin remarked. With a huge smile on his face, all he could do was run to his parents and say, "Thanks, guys. I love you so much. I just want you to be proud of me." "We are," his parents said in unison. They all laughed and shared a warm embrace. Benjamin went to school elated. He had a renewed focus and felt confident that his family was behind him always. Nothing was going to get in the way of his success, for it was indeed another wonderful day in the town of Harmony.